What's going on, guys? It is Aiden Hutchinson.
What's up, man? It's your boy Amon-Ra St. Brown.
What's going on, Coach Dan at Lions Talk Live and the Blue Crew? This is Paul Hawk, Fatima, the founders of the Detroit Lions. Everybody make sure you help support the YouTube channel Lions Talk Live by clicking that like and subscribe button. Let's get it and go Detroit.
Greetings and salutations to everyone out there in YouTube land. This is Dan Skipper, offensive weapon for the Detroit Lions. Make sure you all help support Lions Talk Live, Coach Dan, by clicking on that like and subscribe button. Everybody. Woo!
Well, greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I am your host once again, Dan Thornton. I want to thank you all for joining us here today. Hey, it's the day after. It is the morning show. It is, Victory Monday. Whatever you want to call it, it is what it is, and we are here. We are 13-2. And yes, 13-2, and I want this all to sink in. How good is the NFC North? It is a historic showing this season by any division, whatever you want to call it. So we can say this: no four teams have ever put forth the effort in the NFL and the records that we're seeing with the NFC North. The fact that you've got two teams at 13-2 battling it out for that division and the number one seed, never been seen before in NFL history. And that needs to be said for something, because it's been, 100 years or more now that the NFL has been around. So give a lot of thoughts and praise to the Detroit Lions, also to what the Minnesota Vikings are doing. If you're a Detroit Lions fan, yesterday couldn't have gone any better other than one thing. If the Minnesota Vikings would have dropped one, hey, that's the only way it could have been better. But you know what? There's light at the end of the tunnel. There are now a 2-week race to the finish line. Yes, the Minnesota Vikings and Detroit Lions are in that race. Yes, the Philadelphia Eagles are still in that race, because if the Lions were to drop both games, you know what? The Eagles could still win it. But hey, Vikings won, Philadelphia lost, the Lions won. So we're going to talk about all that and maybe just a little bit more in today's main topics of the day. Real quick, though, before we get the show rolling and going, if you have a half second of time and you're new to the channel, or maybe you just haven't subscribed yet, whatever it may be, we're trying to make a push for 12,100. We are 56 subs away. So if you can help out with that, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you're liking the show and all the content in the channel, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button, that like button. We try to get every video between 200 to 300 to 400 thumbs up or likes. Last but never least, if you are looking for something to read, perhaps this holiday season, consider going to Amazon.com or wherever you find great reading literature and order Kajora book. It is the first in a 9-part series, historical fiction based on historical fiction. You got some fake characters, allegedly fake characters and situations that happen around some historical events. So go ahead and check it out. If you do enjoy it, leave a kind review and consider purchasing late next year, the second book when it comes out. It is the second in the 9-part series. All right, with all that out of the way, let's get this show rolling and going and get over to the first topic of the day, and that is 5 headlines now. And you know what? Today it's Victory Monday, so these are 5 glorious headlines. Absolutely. All right, get them moving now to how the Detroit Lions can clinch the number one seed NFC North in the final 2 weeks. Jared Ramsey of the Detroit Free Press on this one. We all get it, man. We're going to get inundated with this stuff in the upcoming weeks just because, hey, let's face it, at this point, it has been a heck of a run by the Lions this season. No matter what happens, we can say this has been a season probably beyond most people's expectations. The fact that we can go into these details and analyze what the Lions have to do or can do or whatever you want to say to do, they're going to drink a Mountain Dew maybe. But they're going to go ahead and go through it. And, hey, here we go. 13 wins. They win next week. We all get it. They're going to stay in that running for the number one seed and, of course, the NFC North. Now, we're all probably going to be, for the most part, Packers fans next weekend, too, because you know what? If the Packers can beat the Minnesota Vikings, the division is then to the Detroit Lions. Even if the Lions were to go out and lose to Minnesota in the regular season finale, it wouldn't matter. Lions they'd only have one NFC North loss. The Vikings would have 2. Hey, we're all going to be cheering for the Lions to win on Monday Night Football. So, yes, we get an extra day of rest this week at least. And then, yes, you're probably rooting on for the Green Bay Packers to go ahead and beat Minnesota. You know, if you remember the first matchup between them, when Jordan Love was still kind of dealing with that knee injury, Minnesota had a massive lead at halftime and then held on for dear life late in the game. Little did we all probably realize at that point in time that might be the game that actually could really aid the Detroit Lions. But you know what? Vikings can do us a solid, give us a late Christmas present, and go ahead and drop one to the Green Bay Packers this weekend. We're all going to be happy if they can do just that. All right, NFC playoff picture, how the Detroit Lions can clinch number 1 seed in Week 17. Story by Mike Moratis, like I said, of SB Nation. Like I said, everybody and their mom is talking about all these different situations. They're going to be talking about all this stuff. Here's what we do know. Lions have set a franchise record for the 13th win of the season, and more than likely, they're going to have to get number 14, potentially even number 15, in order to secure the NFC North, the number 1 seed, and everything in between. Will it happen? What's going to happen? Hey, that's part of the fun of watching the NFL. The NFL, unlike most other sports, so much can change on a week-to-week basis. In Major League Baseball, one loss, one victory doesn't really compel you one way or the other unless it's very late in the season. Same with the NBA. You want to know why viewership for the NFL continues to rise and shine and grind and go, higher and higher and higher, whatever you want to say? It's because every game does matter that much. You're going to have a whole bunch of teams going into these final 2 weeks battling for a playoff spot. And the difference between getting in or being out is just going to be one game, let alone if the Lions should not win the NFC North, they would go from potentially the number 1 seed down to the number 5 seed. That's how impactful each game is in the NFL. So, all right, moving on from that one. Detroit Lions pull off stumble bum trick play in victory. ESPN story by Eric Woodard. So I'm going to the fumble rooski, or whatever you want to call it. It was a brilliant play design. If you were watching the live cast yesterday, we were talking about it, and we were saying when it first happened, did Goff just stumble? But once you saw the replay, it became quite clear. This was something designed and intentional by the Lions. You could see Gibbs jump, and I'm sure most of you guys, maybe I shouldn't say most of you guys, but I'm going to assume some people said, pay attention to the sidelines of the Detroit Lions, because to me, it was brilliant, the fact that you could see the sideline all getting in on it, jumping up and down, and they all yelled ball. And they pointed out, if you watch the replay, most of the guys pointed out on the field while yelling ball. So to help, you got the visual representation of the trickeration, and now you have the audio representation of the trickeration. So whatever you want to call the play, what we do know is the Bears bid on it hard, because you know what, the defenders were seeing something. Now audibly, they were being reinforced while the Lions, sideline reacts. And yes, it worked out beautifully. Great play. Will it happen again? My suspicion is you'll probably see it again at some point. My anticipation would be in the playoffs. You can see the Lions try to replicate this again. And you know what? Other teams are going to try to copy it as well. So let's be honest. It was that good. All right, why the Detroit Lions game might not even matter next week, and why it could mean everything. Packers-Vikings matchup will determine which of the final 2 games Lions need to win. Click on Detroit was with this one. So clicking on Detroit is something I don't go to a lot. For those who don't know, it's clickondetroit.com, but go check it out. They have a lot of different stuff about Detroit, not just sports or whatever. But hey, if the Vikings lose next week, we win the division. And I'll say this, as long as we win against the 49ers at that point, we win the number 1 seed. It would be a clinch for sure in both regards. And maybe that would bring up a big burning question. What do you do with the Week 18 game? My anticipation is, if this all holds water, Green Bay wins next week. We win on Monday Night Football. If you're asking me as a coach, I'd play our starters the first half of the Minnesota Vikings game, Week 18, and then they're all sitting. I'm going to try to do everything I can to develop some of the younger players, get maybe a couple injured guys, a few reps, just so they're a little less rusty. Because while I did think Iffy Melifonwu, using him as an example, I thought he played overall pretty well yesterday. You could still see hesitation, especially when you watch the replay of the game and go back into the coaching film. I know I talked about a couple of the plays, and I won't point them out in particularly, but you could see some of the rust in just the hesitation in him when he was in the deep safety or a deep high safety, into whether he was supposed to go in or out on different breaks and routes. And that's just stuff that will go away. This week he'll look a little bit better. Obviously, week 18, he'll look a little better. He should look pretty dang good by the time we play in the playoffs, just because he'll have gotten past some of those mental hurdles where he has to stop and hesitate for a second, think about where to go. That's what I'm saying with if Alex Anzalone does return or other injured players, help them out by getting them reps, getting them ready to get over things. The physical aspect of returning is one thing. The mental aspect is a completely different thing when you return. While, hey, you can know the plays, you can see it when you're sitting, in the auditorium watching the film with the coaches, but it's a different thing when you have to think under duress and pressure in that moment. Half second isn't much in most of life. It is everything. It is eternity in a game or in an athletic event when you have to make a rapid decision quickly, getting those neurons to fire and process. Hey, let's see what happens. But my anticipation is we're all cheering for the Green Bay Packers to lose and the Detroit Lions win this week. Make week 18 not mean a dang thing for either team in week 18 for the Lions and Minnesota Vikings. All right, moving on from that. Let me clear my throat. Detroit Lions show the Chicago Bears what they're lacking as they lose 9th straight in lopsided fashion. Story by Colleen, Kane, Chicago Tribune. I think we're all going to agree. If you're the Chicago Bears or any kind of struggling franchise, the Detroit Lions have become the blueprint of how you want to build a team, what you want to do with things, and we all get it. The Chicago Bears have some talent. Chicago Bears are also a mess, in my humble opinion, from the front office all the way down. They remind me, and I don't study them to death, but they remind me a lot of the Detroit Lions in the 1990s. In my opinion, this season, there was a clear division between front office, the personnel selections, and the coaching staff. You got 3 different entities or governing bodies for a franchise going in different directions. You're not going to get anywhere, anytime soon. Unless it's luck or happenstance, it's not repeatable. That's where I think the big problem is. You brought in a defensive-minded coach and kept him around this year when you brought in Caleb Williams and then wanted him to do something that defensive coaches typically don't do, develop a young quarterback. Caleb Williams, as a USC fan, you guys all know it. You heard me talk about it. I think he's got some real potential. I think he's also got some things that need to be grown and developed in him, like most rookie quarterbacks. I also think watching the Bears just a little bit this season, you can just see there's just no, I don't know, I want to say there's a lot of confusion amongst them about where they're trying to take the franchise, let alone different individual players. So my anticipation is this offseason, we're going to see the Lions get rated once again from a scouting department personnel, coaching personnel, but also people just trying to watch and how they did this thing. Let's not forget 2021. This team is a train wreck. This franchise is a train wreck. 2024, this team is one of the most prized possessions in the NFL. Everybody wants what you have in Detroit. And for long-suffering Lions fans, not just the 13 wins. I mean, that's the easy thing to focus our eyes on. Not just the fact you're on the verge of winning back-to-back division titles or being the number 1 seed. The fact that you've got players across the board being drafted, being poached off other teams, and being developed. You have clear cohesion between the front office, the general manager, between the ownership, between the scouts, between the coaches, between the players. There's nobody in the locker room saying, hey, man, we should be doing this different. There's nobody saying, man, I don't know why we didn't call a timeout. There's nobody pointing fingers in different directions. Whatever it is, this team in any kind of commentary is all pointing in one direction. So, like this story from Aiden, I went into Chicago media to get this one, obviously, as Kane is a Chicago Tribune reporter, but this isn't an isolated story. You look at the New York Giants, they talk about how can we be the Detroit Lions? Talk about the New York Jets, they talk about how can we be the Detroit Lions? Let that all sink in for some of you guys that have been watching this team since the 90s, the 2000s, the 70s, the 60s, some of you since the 50s. The Detroit Lions are it. They are what everybody else wants to be, and I think this is a great deep dive story into how Chicago needs to be more like the Detroit Lions. Go check it out if you get a free moment of time. All right, with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and get over to the main topic of the day. going to spend a whole lot of time on this one just because I feel like we kind of certain layers or levels have already covered it with the 5 headlines now. But can this be true? The fact that the Detroit Lions won a game and the defense didn't look terrible. There could have been a couple things to be cleaned up for sure. In my opinion, only right before halftime, Ife Melifanu gives up the sideline. He is one of 2 deep high safeties. If you watch the replay, Terry Arnold clearly passes him off. We talked about, hey, Ife shaking off some of the rust. To me, that's one of the signs of rust. But can it also be true? Detroit Lions went through a game and didn't have any new injuries. Let this sink in. It has been 7 weeks since we could say that. Yes, 7 weeks, 7 games since the Lions left the game and no new injuries. At least there was nothing reported yesterday from either Lions PR department or anybody, like at ESPN with Adam Scheffler. Can it also be true that you went into last weekend or this weekend's games, yesterday's game? How about that? You had certain routing guides and everything other than one came up all roses for you guys. We won. Philadelphia found a way to lose, and man, what a great job by the Philadelphia Eagles to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. You had a team turn the ball over, whatever it was, 5 or 6 times in the Washington Commanders, and you still found a way to give up that game. Unfortunately, yes, Seattle did not defend the den or whatever you want to say. They found a way to lose at the end, but everything else went about as perfectly for the Detroit Lions as you can be. Now you still control your own fate, and you are starting to get some players back. You're not going to get everybody back. We get that, but you're going to get a few guys back before the playoffs. So can this be true? This is a season in faith's perfection, a season of destiny for the Detroit Lions. No matter what has happened, this team keeps going forward. I get there were some people about ready to jump off the Empire State Building or jump off Ford Field maybe after we lost to the Buffalo Bills. But let's go back and revisit that game now that we've had a little over a week since it. You've had all those injuries, everything that could go wrong for you in that game, and you still nearly won that game. Now you go on the road. Everybody says, hey, Jared Goff can't play outside. The Detroit Lions can't play offside. They're a dome team. And to me, that's one of the most lazy commentaries on a team that you could find. Detroit Lions are in a very unique situation when it comes to indoors, outdoors. They can practice indoors all the time if they want to. They can also practice outdoors in the cold, inclement weather. Why? Because they have practice facilities outdoors in a place that is a cold weather state like Michigan. And at any point, did you watch the game yesterday and say, hey, they're really impacted by the weather? I didn't even think it was really a factor. Maybe the wind a little bit on Bates' kick with was it 65-yarder? I mean, maybe to a certain degree, some of the deeper shots that Goff put up, maybe impact a little bit. But you're talking a little bit here and there would have impacted both teams equally, whether you practice indoors or outdoors. So can it be true that the Lions defense might actually also be getting a little bit better? You can talk about Brian Branch doing pretty well. Meek Robinson, I thought, did pretty well yesterday. Muhammad came up. I mean, he's probably never going to be an Hall of Fame type player, but he makes a few plays here and there. Pat O'Connor makes a few plays here and there. And, you can go through a laundry list of guys that are impacting this team. Yes, it's the Chicago Bears, but the Chicago Bears also do have some offensive weapons. Yes, their offensive line is a little bit beat up. So is our defensive line. But I thought what we could see out of our team, hey, forcing turnovers anytime you can, that's a great thing. And it ultimately probably played a big impact in the final results of the game. We're going to go into the San Francisco this weekend. And who knows if they've got anything to play for. I'm guessing other than pride, not too much. They're not making the playoffs. They're not going there. It's my belief to a certain degree. Maybe the front office just wants them to play for higher draft picks because obviously they've got some guys that are aging out. And we talked about it in the preseason. We've talked about it in the regular season. We're going to talk about it going into next offseason when it comes to the 49ers. The 49ers, to me, are a result of, hey, we had a phenomenal 5-year run. We said skip them picks. We gave them a lot of stuff. We're rolling with these dudes. But when those dudes start getting a little bit older, a little bit more beat up, what you're seeing in San Francisco, I thought was fairly predictable. I'm hoping they just lay down and let the Lions growl all over into the finish line and get that win. I also think to a certain degree, if I'm the 49ers, I'd rather see the Lions win it all than somebody else because of what they went through in the NFC title game against us. I think they would prefer the Lions to win, but maybe I'm wrong there. All right, Duke Crew, let's get over to you guys now. You've heard me go on here for about 20 some minutes or whatever it's been. So let's see what you guys have to say. There's a lot to talk about with this team. I think there's a lot to be focused on for these final 2 weeks. We all get it. You're in it to win it, the number one seed, win the division. But I also, selfishly as a coach, I want to see some of these guys continue to develop. We're going to talk about Christian Mahogany, and I'm just going to throw this out there. Watching the replay of the game, we talked about it for a month or whatever it's been now. When he came back from mono, they put him through the 21-day window. They didn't put him on the IR. To me as a coach, that tells me, and I know I mentioned it a gajillion times on the show, there must be something special about this kid. Because not only did they put him on the 53-man roster, but after, I want to say, having him inactive on game days like they would with the Sorsdale and Manu, for a while, then they started activating him and putting Yodi inactive. And what did we see yesterday? At least watching it, and again, it's one game, so not going to overreact too much, but watch his hand placement. Watch his footwork. That was one of the big knocks I thought coming out of college on him is, bulldozer in the running game, questionable in pass blocking. I didn't see any signs of questionable pass blocking yesterday. Now, the more impressive thing to me is watch him assert and move play people in the running game. So when they're running straight forward, or I think maybe once or twice they used them on a pull, not extensively, but they'd use them once or twice in a pull. I thought he got out, he moved guys, and he could displace guys. To me, like anytime you watch an offensive lineman, one of the best things I always try to look for is this guy ever did wrestling before, maybe in high school or college or whatever? Because to be fair, wrestlers know how to use their body, especially hand placement, weight displacement, and stuff like that. He moves guys and shifts guys, not just solely with strength, but he knows how to get leverage on them. And for a rookie, I thought he did a really good job. I don't know if he's going to start the rest of the year, but the fact that you have him coming off the bench, or maybe in some critical situations where you're going with, say, a 6th or 7th offensive lineman, and again, it's one game, so not going to overreact too much, but I thought he looked massively good. And if I had to guess next season, he's probably a starter on that offensive line. And that offensive line, especially if they keep Kevin Zittler along with Penei Sewell, Ragdown gets a chance to heal up along with Decker, that dang offensive line might just be even better next year. And it's no disrespect to Graham Glasgow. I think he's out of position a little bit as the left guard. I also think he is battling a ton of injuries. But, man, Mahogany, the more I rewatch that game and just pay attention to only him versus everything else on the field, I thought he did a real good job. All right, Duke Crew, let's get to you guys. I've spoken probably enough. Let's see what you guys have to say about things. And let me scroll to the top of the screen and get this going. Marcus, hey, Coach Dan, is there any news on the Calais Campbell sweepstakes? Miami won yesterday, so my guess is they're not going to let him go until they know they're out of the playoffs, unless I guess it wouldn't make any sense for them to let him go. But at some point, if they lose, maybe they do make a move. Although if we get closer to week 18, the other hard part, if I'm going to be the Detroit Lions, is if you bring him in, how quickly can you get him up to speed? Wait and see, my friend. Wait and see. All right, Lions Talk Live fan 15-2. I like the way you're thinking. Wayne, skip the Packers. I don't want their help next week. We will and must win this advantage. Our greatest enemy cannot. Next year, I hope our division adds a team so Packers can finish 5th. I hate. All right? That's a lot of hate for them. Johnny L. Tori, I feel you. Okay. Maybe we missed maybe there's some comments missed or something. I don't know. Marcus, I'm calling it now. The Lions will score 49 on the 49ers. I like the way you're thinking. Man Bear, happy Victory Monday, everyone. The streak goes on for not losing 2 games in a row. You're right with that. Longest active streak in the NFL, and I think by far. Awesome. Concurred. Rob Wayne, not without protection, mate. Fair enough. Yeah, I'm guessing there's some comments that maybe got lost. I don't know, because, it says 641 was the first one. So sorry about those that may have got cut off by YouTube. All right, Wayne, JDC, Wayne, thumbs up. What can do? Good morning, Duke Crew. Oh, yeah, Victory Monday. That's what Stephanie, what's that, Stephanie Waller? 94 and 28, like the Autobahn. Yeah, there you go. Wink. Yes, you go enjoy it. I guess there's a lot of comments that probably got missed. Clark, why not? Why couldn't Seattle hold the lead? Question mark. Come on, Green Bay. I believe in Jordan Love. Yes, I'm guessing there will be a lot of Lions fans that become Green Bay Packers fans next weekend. Johnny L, just win, baby. Just win. 100%. I like the way you're thinking. Good to see you, man. It feels like it's been a minute since I've seen you. Henry Moore, good morning, Coach Dan and Duke Crew. Exclamation point. Woo! What a team. What a win. What a podcast. Thanks, man. You are the best. No, you guys are the best. Go Lions. One pride. 100% on all the above. Marcus, Wayne, are you okay with a tie? Hey, the tie might actually work for the Lions. Wayne, love this show. And the show loves you, Wayne. Good morning. Woo! Our time is here. Agreed, my friend. Agreed. JDC, Puff, woo! Coffee and Lions Talk Live. Always great. Johnny L, sometimes I feel I'm just dreaming. Hey, this season has been something to dream about, I guess. Big Daz, good morning, Coach. Dan and Duke Crew, if we win against San Francisco, I think we will have an excellent chance at being number one. Oh, yeah. Yeah, if we could win that and then, again, get the Packers to lose, that would pretty much wrap it up. Johnny L, hey there, JDC. Big Eddie, greetings, salutations, Coach Dan and Duke Crew. What did we think of Mahogany? You probably heard me talk about it. I feel like he did very well. He did, man. And, again, rewatching and things, just, I try to pay attention to the footwork and then the hand placements, how quickly you can shift people for an offensive lineman and then maintain, leverage on them. So, again, one game, limited sample size, but I thought he did pretty dang well. Rob, smash that button for Coach Dan, the man. Thanks for that, Rob, and good to see him this morning. Jason, great, mostly expected win. Let's keep it up. Superdome or bust, 100%, my friend, 100%. Mike the Marine Gunny, howdy, Dan and Duke Crew. Merry Christmas to all in Wooville, 100%. The countdown is on to Christmas Day, and who's not ready for Santa Claus to come down the chimney or through the front door or wherever I guess he's going? Hardy, feel confident about this team, especially on offense. Hope we get Anzalone and Maben back soon. I'm still wondering about Mosley, who played the snaps at cornerback yesterday, was only paying attention to TA. So Robertson played. Mosley was activated. I just don't think he ever got in the field. And I get it. They mostly played Brian Branch in the slot, moved Amik out wide, kind of went back to like last year's type setup. To be fair, other than a couple mess ups on defense where kind of the communication broke down, they played a lot more zone coverage yesterday than they have historically throughout the season. And I think that's where some of the miscommunication came back, especially, and again, adding Iffy back into the mix. But hey, good for them. They worked on some things, got some reps, and developing that side of things. Brother Ken, Washington Commanders, we owe you one. You got to be thankful for what they gave us yesterday. Evan, hey, JDC, how much snow do you have? We'll find out. Jess, good morning, Duke Crew, exclamation point. What a splendid victory Monday indeed. Merry Christmas, everybody. Look forward to crushing the 49ers next, exclamation point. Have a great day. Woo! And you have a great day too, my friend. Enjoy it. France, good day all. Brother Ken, you are correct, exclamation point. Now we just need the Vikings to drop next week. Let's see if they will. Let's see if they can. Bo Mahoney had his coming out party. He did. And, I don't know if he'll start next week or the rest of the season or anything. But, again, one game, he was pretty good. JC Hetman, snowing very lightly now, 2 to 4 inches on the ground. Okay. Brother Ken, Coach Dan, I truly believe Dan Campbell needs to drop the hammer on JMO. I'm sorry, but the dude has zero impulse control. Yeah, obviously yesterday was not a good start for his day in that regard. He's going to have to learn to, just control what he says. And I don't know the full what happened that got the flag early in the game. Thankfully, it didn't really impact the game. But, yeah, he's got to mature beyond that. Because right now, I'm guessing everybody is going to talk about, hey, you need to get in his head early and try to get him to self-destruct. That's just part of what teams do. He's got to move beyond that so he's immune to it. Hetman, Merry Christmas, Dan and Duke Crew. Hope everyone has a safe and wonderful holiday. Same to you, my friend. Enjoy it. Hookadoo, Seattle had the game, and they blew it. They did indeed, man. They did indeed. Susan Scotts, I love this team and the Duke Crew. Thankful for both this holiday season, and we're thankful to, everybody or at least I'm thankful for everybody in the show, everybody in the Duke Crew, and just being able to do this with you guys. Johnny L, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to all of you. And same to you. Hookadoo, back at you, Hatman. Thanks, Hookadoo. Both the flag on JMO was complete BS. If anything, Stevenson should have been flagged for a late hit. I was real surprised that they didn't get him for that because to me, and looking at a replay, JMO's out of bounds. It's not like, is he just stepping out? He was out of bounds and got shoved. I also feel like given what happened on Thanksgiving, that the officiating crew would have been more mindful of that situation. I was surprised, but you know what? J-Mo's probably okay with it at the end of the day because you know what? He got that, whatever it was, 80-some yarder on him. He's probably focused on that versus anything else. Dennis, good morning. Dan and Cruz, same to you, Dennis. Johnny L, no injuries. Yes, indeed. We escaped the game with no injuries, and hopefully we can continue that the rest of the regular season. Papa, I think it will be a fine weekend next as the Minnesota team fails to find victory. I'll go with that, and yes, that would be great. JDC, Motor City Duke Crew, Tree of Destiny, thumbs up. I'll take all the above. Dennis, great win. It was indeed. Jameer, what do you got? 14-2. Next up, I like the way you're thinking. Chicago looks terrible. And you know what? They're donezo. Their season is now done. Let's see. Dennis, Merry Christmas. Dan and Duke Crew, same to you. Detroit D, we need to continue to stay focused. Detroit versus everybody and anybody. I agree, man. You don't have any margin for error. Keep doing what you're doing. Win out. You'll be just fine. Hendrick, so is St. Brown's new nickname Binky? Might just be. Quentin, greetings, salutations, DC and Duke Crew and Dan. Let's all take a moment and be thankful for the D just getting a few stops yesterday. Yeah, really, this offense, if they keep performing the way they have been most of the season, a couple stops is all you really need. If you can get 2 or 3 or force some turnovers like they did yesterday, you're probably going to be okay. Rob Boo agreed, but the guys overcome it, and JMO is getting better at keeping his nose clean. When he does, his talent and work ethic shines. And you know what? Versus where he was a year ago, you can see clear progression in him as an athlete. And I think to some degree, you could say with him developing as a human being too, or maturing. Maybe that's a better way to put it. Brother Ken, BS or no BS, JMO has a serious weakness, and it must be dealt with. He could cost us a game because of it. Yeah, he's got to move beyond being able to get those penalties because at the wrong game, you're 100% right. That could impact the game. Steve, good morning to Coach Dan and crew. Exclamation point. The Seahawks were not good enough to beat Minnesota, but Green Bay will. All we have to do is take care of business in San Francisco, and this is ours. Go Lions. 100%, man. 100%. The Lions win 1 out of the next 2. They're probably going to get everything to go their way. But, at the same time, you might have to win both of them. We'll wait and see. One week at a time, my friend. Jason, Goff remains in the MVP conversation with 137 passer rating. Yeah, and he's got, I want to say he set a career high yesterday by getting his 33rd touchdown pass of the season. I didn't realize it was that high, but going back and thinking about it, yeah, he's been playing pretty well. Anymore, I know rules are rules, but it should be addressed throughout the entire game equally. I watched several penalties by the Bears and not called naughty rule breakers. They did get away with a few things. I felt like there were times the officials were really trying to, keep everybody in check, and there's other times they kind of let stuff go, and that's where I was kind of surprised with things. I still couldn't find out, towards the end of the game, they were going to flag us for something in the end zone. But, man, I tried to rewatch that a few times from different angles and just trying to say, what was that sideline official looking at that they could have potentially called? And I get they waved it off and everything, but I watched that and I was like, man, I'm not seeing anything to draw a flag. So whatever they thought they saw, I'm glad they picked it up because, man, there was nothing that I could find. Hookadood, MCDC gave JMO an earful for that taunting call. He did indeed. And to be fair to the Fox, they did show that, and they kind of highlighted it. Sosmo, do we know if any injured guys are returning this week or next? It'd be my guess, although it's nothing official, that you're probably going to have Anzalone back, maybe Reeves Maben back, and that will help quite a bit in the linebacker room. And if nothing else, just so you can get them a game or two before the playoffs, just kind of shake off the rust. I do think you'll see Ife Melifonwu continue to look better and better just again as he gets reacclimated to be on the field. Remember, that's the first time he's been on the field since the Kansas City preseason game. Paperback fan, greetings, salutations, Duke Crew! Exclamation point. Almost perfect weekend. Only if Seahawks was able to hold on. Great time to be a Lions fan. You're not wrong, man. Hey, you know what? It adds kind of to the flavor for next weekend's games because you know what? You've got a reason to pay attention to the scores. Voltron Force, in your opinion, if we can find some pass rush, then our defense can be just good enough for this team to make the Super Bowl and win. I think you're right, man. The defense wasn't horrible yesterday by any stretch of the imagination. They potentially could be getting healthier. Now, if they can just get to the quarterback a little bit, that would help out a lot. No defense held the Bears 17 points. Good luck to anyone stopping our offense. I concur. Lauren, good morning, Coach Dan and Duke Crew. It feels good to be 13-2. Let's go, Lions. Woo, woo, woo. I'm back at you, my friend. Pat Bo Booth, does our O have a weakness? I'm starting to think no. I mean, really, at this point, I can't think of anything glaring. We kind of talk about Mahogany, maybe, if nothing else. If Glasgow's the starter, Mahogany's appears to be a solid backup. The running game, hey, we get it. Montgomery's not going to be back until at least the playoffs. But did anybody feel bad about what we saw out there from the running back, groups from Baki, Reynolds, and then Gibbs? I'd say they did a pretty good job. And the receiving core is fine. Tight end group's fine. Quarterback's fine, etc. Matt, good morning, Duke Crew. Ben Johnson, an absolute menace. Yeah, 13-2. Feels so good. Who has it better than us? Woo! That's a great question to ask. Dave Bing, bring back James Houston to get Calais Campbell. We'll see what they can do. I don't know if James Houston's done anything with the Cleveland Browns, but I haven't really been paying attention either, to be fair. Trump's, woo! And your daddy, all right? Woo, your daddy, all right? I see what you're doing there. Robert, best trick play ever. Yeah, great design there. Apparently, they were going to run it earlier in the game, but the Bears shifted some kind of coverage, so they, audibled out of it. Lauren, that trip/trick play, oh my gosh, yeah. And again, we watched it live and calling it on the live cast. I was like, man, the fact that Gibbs jumped like that, I was like, was there something happening? But once you saw the first replay of it, I was like, nah, man, that was intentional. All right, Henry Moore, the 49ers are done, exclamation point. All they can do, I see what you did there, is be spoilers. We kicked so hard in the their fourth point of contact, it shots out their nose. We win. All right, we'll kick them hard and get the win. Robert, watch the trick play in slow motion. It gets even better. 100%. Yeah, I agree with that, man. Bo, it was weird hearing Broussard talking good about us before the game. It's cold enough that hell must have frozen over. I'll go with that. Yeah, probably some truth there. Rob, watching Goff fall against Green Bay, that was a good concept. Yeah, it was a good conception. Let's see, Trumps, we're talking about Panama Canal, excuse me. They let the commies take it over. Okay. I'm not sure what that has to do with football, Trump. Let's try to keep it about football. Robert, back at you, Molly Hatman and her family. Merry Christmas, all of the above. Frank the Tank, what's up, crew? East Side, woo! Go Lions. Good to see you, Frank the Tank. Hookadoo. Hatman, you need to get your puppy a Lions collar. Yeah, I probably need to do that. 100%. Robert, woo! I'll go there. Let's see, Stephanie, woo! Everybody's warming it up in here. It is Victory Monday, right? Philippines on demand. Seattle had plenty of chances to beat the Vikes. If Green Bay can't do it, we'll get it done ourselves. We might have to. We'll see, though. But next weekend, I am rooting on the Packers. Detroit D, just last week, people thought the sky was falling. You're not wrong there. Fake Lions fans. Only the diehards fans never stop believing. You're correct, man. One thing I would say is, I think we all know there are people that, get really emotional and making emotional decisions or choices on things. But doing the live cast, man, there are times where I'm like, wow, you can see people get really into the moment. Motown Mitch, only got one thing to say. Lions rule, Bears drool. I'm down with that, my friend. Good to see you this morning. Detroit DJ, woo, happy Victory Monday. Back at you. Gun guy, Broski Bear, take your pants off. Yeah, it's ready for a beat down. Let's see, the non-laughers, good morning. Stemboruski crew, there we go. Laughing out loud, what a play. It was a great play. Chad, good morning. Dan from the Mike Crew. Hey, glad to have you here, Chad. Thanks for Micro Mike to doing a raid. I didn't know what a raid was, and now I do. So knowing is half the battle. Hatman, thanks, Robert Yankee. Back at you. Hopefully you both are having a great start to your day. Philippines, Dan is feeling better. Back on his game. Got the hair spiked again. Yes, indeed, man. He used the good hair gel or hand gel or whatever it is to handle the hair so far today. Non-laughers, we need the Packers to beat Minnie. I agree with that 100%. Joe C., good morning, Coach Dan and Duker. What about our Lions? Question mark. So glad the Eagles lost. Exclamation point. The Packers will beat the Vikings. And the Packers, make no mistake about it. They want to get in that playoff conversation, maybe get as good of seeding as they can. And plus, there's the other factor. You want to be playing good against playoff teams at the right time. They know that what's on the stake or on line for the Minnesota Vikings. They probably want to try to deny them that. there's a rivalry between all the teams in this division, and I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. I think the Packers are going to go ahead and try to beat them down. See, Damien, so thankful at my age to see the Lions making history after 46 years as a fan. Enjoy it, my friend, and yeah, let's keep it on going. Joe C., I almost got the score prediction right. I had it at 38-17. Man, great call on that, Joseph C. Courtney, last 3 years, picked the Lions. We're going to be 9-8, 12-5, and 15-2. Check the record. Oh, and I see Lombardi down at Parade and at Hart Plaza in Detroit. Let's get that parade ready. Let's go get that victory. Hey, what do you got? I'm glad some people jumped off the bandwagon after the Bills lost. There is more room for us. You're not right. You can stretch your legs a little bit now. Derek, good morning, coach and crew. So we say this every week, but next week is a big game. We can't take another conference loss. No, we cannot. And, there's a lot of different layers of things, but the further up the ladder you go in the race for the NFC number 1 seed, there's just less margin for error. Hold on, sorry, Coach. I checked the Dewey Decimal System in my local library. You could not find your book. I don't know, man. I know you can get it on, eBay? You can get it on Amazon.com. You can find it lots of different places, I guess. Rob, I thought the Vikings might lose to the Packers next week, but I remember that the NFL needs the final game to be meaningful for viewers. This is going to be the final game. It might be. It might go down to the final game, 100%. Bo, I would love to see Legatron make that 60-yard. It would have been nice. Mike K, let's see, micro machines. I'll go with that. One funky. Glad it wasn't windy. Stevenson couldn't handle J-Mo. Man, I miss Anzalone, Barnes, and Hutch. And if he looks slow. Yeah, he looks slow just as he's getting reacclimated, but that he'll get faster as his brain, has to process less information. It just goes more to just being reactionary. Hookadoo, it was close, Bo. It was. David, good morning, all. Lions looking good. Bills not looking that good. Can't wait for the Super Bowl redemption. We'll see what happens. Bo, so close, Hookadoo. No time, Mitch. Mr. Pew Pew is back. Always, indeed. Philippines, what I find even more impressive than all the wins is how the Lions did it. They've played almost the entire season depleted on defense. You're not wrong, man. They've been beat down, but you know what? Some guys are starting to emerge for us a little bit more and more. Doug, biggest hurdle I see tackled is Mahogany getting his feet wet and doing as good as a rookie could be expected. Offensive line depth was always a weakness from day one. Fair enough. Good point. Michigan Panthers pride. Let's go, bro Lions. We'll go. We'll keep on going. Big D, morning Duke crew, back at you. Let's go, big bro Lions. Hopefully us Panthers can pull off a similar season. Agree with that. Jay-Z, yeah, the Stumble-Rooski, indeed. That's a good one. Big D, wow, kid is amazing. Yeah, and again, not to keep beating on it, but when they didn't IR him, and then when they left him active on games, that's a strong indication what the coaches think of the kid. That the fact that they were willing to put Yodi inactive on game days, yeah, they think they got something there. Courtney, how about Christian Mahogany? Question mark. Woo! Honorary Duke crew, I'm down with that. Lauren, anyone here from Broski today? Probably not. Maybe somebody has, but it ain't been me. Big D, everything they hype him about is true. Yeah, that might be true. One funky, yes, the stumble bum was awesome. It was indeed. Kurt Steele, the Man of Steel. What up, though, Duke crew? What's up, Man of Steel? How you doing? Doug, I like Iffy starting to shake off the rust. I remember his impact last 4 to 5 games last year. He has the size and athleticism to make a difference in these coming games. Yeah, and again, moving Brian Branch probably more back to the slot, going with more 3 safety sets. But Iffy, Kirby Joseph, Brian Branch out there, along with Terrion Arnold, and I'm assuming Amik Robinson for the rest of the way. That's not a horrible lineup by any means. Damon, Ben Johnson is the mad scientist in the NFL. I concur. Lauren, good morning, Kurt. One funky. It's going to be a little weird rooting for Green Bay next week. Hey, I will endure the pain and root them on. Bo, Wall of Steel. Dennis, what up, though, Kurt? Hookadoo. Morning, Man of Steel. Grit, I concur. Michigan Panther, good morning, Kurt. Trumps, did Miami win? They did win. Jay-Z, it was a, quote, copy play from Green Bay versus Chicago. Love actually did fumble, snap, recovered, and threw it to his tight end. Ben saw it on film and turned it into a purposeful play. I like the way you're thinking, and it probably was. Sarge, go Cheddars. I'll go with that, Sarge. Willard, excuse me, that female referee is trash. She was trying to show everyone that she belongs there. She really belongs in the USFL games, just my opinion. yeah, hey, you got to start somewhere. All officials go through it, man. You start here and you elevate up. So good that it did not impact anything. And again, I don't know what they were looking or she was looking at. Some of these guys explained that one to me because I went back and was like, man, just out of morbid curiosity, what was it? And I couldn't find anything. Kurt Steele, Bo Booth, Dennis, let's see, Michigan Panther Pride, good morning. One Funky, Miami won by like 12. Agreed. Sarge, good morning. Dan and all, exclamation points. Victory Monday it is indeed. See, woo, I concur. Hookadoo. Victory Monday show today, Kurt Steele. Lauren, I think we should grab a few O-line next year. I wonder what we'll do, but I do think that the reason why they took Manu is to develop him for next year. And Christian Mahogany, based on what we're seeing, I think he's going to be a starter next year, if not even this year. Let's see. Taylor made it. Good to see you as always, my friend. Longtime OG Lions Talk Live, Duke Crewer. Vince Evans was also a Bears quarterback from South Carolina. Okay. Rob Kurt, what up, Doe? Coaching by Tanya. Hey, Duke Crew, go Lions. We'll see you soon, my friend. Always good to see you on the show. Let's see. JDC getting real in the D. Go Lions. Kurt Steele, Hookadoo. Of course, Victory Monday 13. Michigan Panther Pride, Lions balled out yesterday. Yes, they did. Jay-Z, Seattle has gone up a couple spots in my enemies list after twice failing to help Detroit after we helped them get to the playoffs in 2022. All right, Damian, anyone notice shaky Buffalo looked yesterday? The hangover Detroit, I suppose. One Funky, Golf has issues with wind, not the cold or rain and snow. It wasn't windy yesterday in Chicago. Wind gusts hit a high of 10 miles per hour in an hour, which is nothing. Okay, I'll go with all the above. Derek, if the Lions and Vikings both win next week and we lose the Vikings, don't we still have the head-to-head? We would lose the NFC North, if I'm not mistaken, which means we would lose the number one seed. Somebody can feel free to correct me on that, but the other part is, Derek, that they would have the better overall record because they've got the same record as us right now. Miles Meyer, 13-2 victory recovery Monday. I'm down with that. One Funky, Derek, we would have 3 losses and they would only have 2 in that scenario. Correct. Michael, good morning, Coach and Duke Crew. Go Lions. I'm down with all the above. We're going to hey, morning, my brother from another mother, Miles Marker, JDC, Dre Forge rocks, and he rolls. Derek, that's Funky. Thanks, Funky. I guess I forgot how to count. Yeah, it happens, man. It's early. One Funky, Derek, when it mattered, they would have more wins. Correct. Miles Marker, morning, Hookadoo, another trickeration play to add to this year's lore. Exclamation point. Oh, yeah. And Courtney, Lomas Brown, and TJ Lang were singing praise of Christian Mahogany. So did Dan Miller. Yeah, again, watching the tape, and I didn't know that about them, but yeah, I thought he did a real good job. Whether or not Graham Glasgow can regain the starting spot, I don't know. I'll leave that to the coaching staff. One Funky, Derek, no worries. Philippines, if Calais Campbell gets dropped, he won't make it to the Lions. Other teams will have first shot. I'm just saying. From my understanding, and I've been wrong before in life, believe it or not, he's a fully vested free agent at that point. He can sign with anybody. Otherwise, there'd be no reason to cut him because of that very scenario. If the Bears wanted to sign him to keep him away from people, they could. But I believe he is a total free agent if he gets released. Let's see. Did Buffalo suffer the Lions hangover? I believe so, but I think they won. Maybe I'm wrong. Detroit D. Glasgow may be playing his last season in Detroit. I believe so, unless he's going to be a backup. But still, looking at Sorsdale, Manu, and then Mahogany, I think they're the future. And it's no disrespect to Graham Glasgow. Father Time's undefeated. He comes for all of us, or it comes for all of us. Yeah, I just think he's probably on his final days here as well, Detroit D. Bo, Mahogany, excuse me, Mahogany Rush is here. It might be. Hookadoo, the book of trickeration is adding a new chapter, Miles Marker. I agree. They've probably got more coming too. Miles Marker, almost, but nope, Trump's a genius. Okay. Johnny, what do you got? Awesome trick play and another touchdown, St. Brown. It was, and I was surprised he was able to weave in on all that traffic to get into the end zone. I thought he would come up short, but hey, give him some props. Chicago Bears forgot how to tackle. Philippines, the Lions would take care of business, so it doesn't matter what other teams do in the last 2 games. We got this. I like the way you're thinking. Wanda, if the Vikings beat the Packers, then Monday night's game against 49ers becomes meaningless. Oh, do we rest our starters? The Vikings beat the Packers. Well, it wouldn't be, I guess maybe. Yeah, you're right, because we'd be putting everything down to 1 game. I see what you're saying there. That I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see, Wanda, but that's a fair question. Trump's thumbs up. Detroit D, the defense was solid for the most part. Agreed. Strife Trice, Vikings to lose. Think you Matt. All right, I'll go with that. Yeah, if they do lose, then yes, the final game is meaningless. One funny, I almost wonder if Glasgow was actually hurt. He had 2 bad games, then end up on the injury report. Makes me wonder. I think he's been playing through a lot of injuries. Same with Frank Ragnow. I could be wrong though. No, I think that a number 14 guy is pretty good. You know what? He might make it in this league. I agree. Trey D, Vikings will lose next 2 game. All right, let's hope they lose the next 2 games. 100%. Mosley was on special teams. He was, and I want to say that's the second game this season. He was out there, getting his feet wet and stuff. And hey, at some point as a coach too, you respect the guys who've been here throughout, the entire season doing things. If Mosley was clearly heads over tails better than them, that's where he probably would get in there starting. Keegan, we looked really good yesterday. Let's go in a big Sheila. Woo! Let's give you guys a Sheila woo. It's been a minute, so how about a 1, 2, and a 3? And will you go? Lions Super Bowl, good morning. Duke Crew, One Pride. Woo! 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 Let's go, Lions Super Bowl champs. Here we come, 100%. Trey D. Amik played well on the outside yesterday. He did, man, and probably not enough people talked about it or recognized it. Oops, hold on. I think one of the dogs is trying to get in here, so it happens. Bo Booth, I really want it, and there we go. All right, hold up. Sometimes we got production studio things. All right, sorry about that, guys. Anyways, Meek, yes, the Detroit D. There we go. Great game. It was indeed. Hey, Lions won. Anytime Lions win, it's a great game. Detroit D. Jamo is going to have over 1,000 yards receiving. He is, man. The way he's playing right now, yes, I think he will get just there. Mike K, it's culture not gonna mature. There you go. We'll find out. Let's see, Miles Marger. Vikes are driving hard. They were counted out this season. Yeah, I think probably the best thing that happened to him is that the U of M rookie quarterback. I don't remember his name off the top of my head, but the fact that he got hurt where they didn't feel any pressure to put Darnold out and you leave Darnold in, I think that probably actually worked to their advantage. They got something to prove. That makes them dangerous. I'll go with all the above, and I think you're right. Jay-Z, J-Mo said he didn't say anything after making the catch, spinning the ball, and silence. The ref threw the flag after Chicago silent, reacted to the ball spinning. It might be just that. Eddie's Fish, what happened to the Lions and the Vikings have the same record, could be tiebreaker. Eddie's Fish, so if they finish the same, it's going to come down to, let's just say both teams win next week. Whoever wins that Week 18 game gets the NFC North and the number 1 seed. One flagging the flag was for spinning the ball. Stop hating on the kid. It was a weak flag that was only thrown because he was on their sideline. Maybe true. Monday Night Football, Detroit D. Monday Night Football next week. Back-to-back division champs. Let's go for that. Bo, Jay-Z, exactly. Motown Mitch. I'm with Bo. That flag and J-Mo was BS. Yeah, I didn't think it was the strongest one, especially when he saw some other stuff happen during the game that didn't get flagged. Ball, J-Mo spun the ball on a late hit out of bounds, and he will be fine. People just need to get over the NFL going after J-Mo. He's a dog. He's a good kid, and they are after him. I don't care what anyone says. All right, I'll go with that for sure. Miles Meyer, I'll come down to the last game. Can't end tied unless that game's tied. Lions take it. Eddie's Fish. Hey, if we finish in a tie in the final game and win it all with the tie, hey, I'll go with it. Kurt, D-line was able to get some pressure later in the game. They were. And early in the game, the first couple drives, they were blitzing, especially from the cornerback slot or the nickelback slot, I should say. But then they kind of went away from it for a little bit. Detroit D and the Agent Zero is getting better every week. Interception coming soon? I think so. And I like the way the kid's playing. I think he is trending upwards. Let's see, Leonard, good morning, Coach and Duke Crew. Feeling grateful for Washington's early Christmas present. Good call there. Happy holidays all. Same to you, my friend. Hookadoo, the Commanders said they couldn't see what they did wrong either. Yeah, the commentator said, excuse me. Motown Mitch, I got one major problem with J-Mo. We need to get this boy some speech lessons. Can anyone understand anything he says? I think he does a fine job. Let's see, Trump's Bears were holding a lot. They were holding a lot. Be right back listening. Got to get ready for work. No worries, man. Go have some fun. Get ready for work. Bo, hey Motown, best modern college education, right? Okay. And Johnny Gaz, good morning, Dan and crew. Back at you. I think we can all take a big, deep breath now. Lions back in full control. Great Sunday! Exclamation point. J-Mo and Gibbs showed out as predicted. Yes, they did. And good to see you as always, Johnny. Let's see. Robert, good morning, Johnny Gaz. Easy there, Bo. I didn't say in doctorate. Okay, all right. Bo, of course, Motown Mitch, never let me put words in anyone's mouth. Okay, Philippines, maybe it's just me, but I thought Zadarius Smith would have made more of an impact for us. I'm sure it's me. I think he's a good complement piece. I don't think he's a good primary piece, at least not at this point in his career. Detroit, if our defense can make those 3 pivotal stops, the game will win the Super Bowls. I agree with that, 100%, 100%. Joe, does Mosley play in San Francisco? Question mark. Sounds like something DC would do. He'll keep working his way into things. Is my anticipation. String theory. Our defense, of whom has talent, but they need to learn each other and tighten up. Yeah, they'll get better in time. Hopefully, at least. Motown, need to have a competition between JMO and Leggett, who is the least comprehensible. All right, okay. Let's Bo. Boom was putting pressure on all day. Caleb was getting rid of the ball under 3 seconds for the most part. I'll go with that. Let's see, Brian, good morning and Merry Christmas to all. That's what the Lions get for releasing Houston. Dumb move, I still don't get it. I'm a James Houston fan, as probably everybody knows. Look at agreed, Bo. Most of the whole game, Caleb was running for his life. He was getting out of the pocket. He was using his legs. Kurt, some of the comments in the chat are bugging me today. I'll see you guys at 8. We'll see you there, my friend. Bo, catch you later, Kurt. Southwest, AG switched up the defense. Looks like it was just enough to win it all. Hey, they got it done. That's all I'm worried about. Lauren, see you at 8, Kurt. Henry Moore, catch you on the flip side, Kurt Steele. Catch you in the boss up, ball out, Kurt. There we go, Rob. Hoogadoo, see you at 8 o'clock, correct? JDC, woo, that defense. I'll go with that. Who is that on defense? That might be very accurate. Greg, the trick play was taken from the Kirk Cousins Animals when he was at Michigan State, where they did it several times. Fair enough. I did not know that. Thank you for that. Airplane here. It was the stumble bum. Yes, it was. Philippines. I think Campbell dropped the ball, handing out game balls. Gibbs should have received one. Yeah, and that might be true because I thought he played a pretty good game. Johnny, the trick play is now called the stop, drop, and score. I'm down with all that. 100%. Theo, let's see. Lions will win the Super Bowl. I like the way you're thinking. Bo, Saint tried to pass his game ball to JMO. It might be needed because JMO had a pretty good game. Keegan, thanks again for the awesome show, Coach, and a big Sheila. Woo! Anytime, my friend. Anytime. Good to see you as always. Let's see, Trumps, we need to draft a defensive end. We probably will at some point, if not the first round next year. Rob, let those criticizing officials try officiating themselves. Yeah, it's not easy, man. Having done it for a few years, it's not easy by any means. And again, I'm not saying that the ref was wrong for throwing the flag. I'm just not sure what they were looking at. And that's what I tried to go back and review. Like, what did we miss? Maybe the camera didn't see something. Was there something before the replay initiated that drew the flag? I just don't know. John W. What got? Goff showed off the arm slipping over one JMO's shoulder. He did. He threw it deep. True Grit. Good morning, Duke Crew. One win close to the Super Bowl. Yes, we are. Motown, no real Lions fan will ever root for the Packers. If you don't know what to do next week, it's simple. Just rooting for the Vikings to lose. All right, I'll go with that. JDC, Buddy Love and the Cheddars. Okay. C times C. If Vikings win on Sunday, then Monday is Monday the Lions. Okay. Good morning. Good morning, Phil. Trump's Ric Flair is looking for a kickback. He might be doing just that. Phil, Mahogany played well. I thought he played very well. I think you're spot on with that, Philly. JDC 49ers sure do look pretty. Aha, I see what you did there. Great Legs, good morning, coach and crew. Exclamation point. They're a scenario where we lose the North. Hey, we lose to the Vikings week 18, and they haven't lost prior. We would lose the North. Bo, I got dug out. There you go. Great Legs. If the Vikings have the same record as us in the North, is it points? Is it a points thing? So at this point, it'll be it basically in a nutshell. If both teams win next week, it's whoever's going to win the Week 18 game that wins the North. Rob, J.J. McCarthy, thank you for that. David, what do you got? Mahogany was the hardest wood in the offensive line. He did a real good job for his first game. Great Lakes, let's see. Who would they have the chance of getting the North if we split the series? Well, if the Vikings win that game, they're probably going to win the North. I'll put that way, unless they lose next week. Motown Mitch, what about JJ Rob? Okay. Trade JJ. Vikings don't need him. I do wonder if they re-sign Sam Darnold and trade JJ next year. JDC, happy trails. Go Lions victory and a very Merry Christmas all. Same to you, Motown. Hexias Vikings trade a quarterback they don't want have an awesome. Okay. The Smith, what do you got? I love fake fumbles. Go Goff. Woo! Okay. Hardy, I hear that other teams will respect Calais Campbell's choice to play for Detroit because he would just retire if picked up by another team. Miami Herald. Might be true. Motown Mitch, 1. Great Lakes, JJ is going to be, as Roger was to Favre, groomed for the future. Remember, he didn't throw a ton in college. Michigan was 80% run game. Yeah, also true. D13, talk about something I haven't seen in a minute. Good to see you, my friend. The draft for Trey Lance screwed the 49ers' future. They put a whole lot in that kid, and then they gave up on that kid. And I would have held on to him, but that's me. Let's see. Great Lakes, laughing out loud. Rob, that wasn't direct to you, Coach Dan. I didn't think it was, man. I didn't think it was. So, but thank you, Rob. Great Lakes JMO is from the South, and part of that is his accent. I can understand him fine. Most athletes aren't exactly the most eloquent. Anyways, yeah, I understand him fine. I don't have a problem with him. Let's see. Trump's on that end zone flag. They were trying to flag us for a personal foul. Yeah, I didn't really see it that way, but but you probably are right with that. Let's see. Rob, Coach Dan asked his name, JJ. Yeah, thank you for that, by the way, Rob. Miles Margaret, 13-2. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here, get you guys over to the Boss Up, Ball Out podcast. Thanks for being a part of the show today. If there is breaking news later today, of course, I'll get it over to you as quick as possible. If you would be so kind as you're checking out, hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button. As you guys know, it helps the channel out, or all channels out, a lot. So take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. Be a good human being. Do something kind for someone you don't know. We'll see you on the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, everybody.
Excuse me, sir, would you... Donations to Reverend Moon? Juice for Jesus?
Read about Jehovah's Witness? How about Buddhism?
Help Jerry's kids? Oh, yeah. Scientology?
Or nuclear power?